Okay, now that we have everything cut out, we're going to put our sleeves on top of our, we're going to sew our sleeves to our shirt. But first things first, we are not going to sew the side seams. The side seams are going to be sewn last. So we're going to attach our sleeves here on the shoulder line first, and then we'll sew the side seam, up the side seam and up the seam to the shirt, to the sleeve. So you're going to lay out your fabric or your shirt like this, and you're going to double check. Remember what I told you when we cut the sleeves out. There's going to be one side that's going to be super long. It's going to be longer than the front side. So the front is the shorter side, and the long side is the back. That goes to the back. So you'll need two right sides to right sides. So because this is the back, this is the back of the shirt, this is the right side because there's no seam. You pin them together like this. Okay, once you get to the top of your shoulder seam, you're going to have to ease it in, meaning you're going to have to stretch it. See how much more we have here at the top? That's not going to lay flat. See, there's going to be that much left over. That much or so left over. So what we're going to have to do, we're going to have to ease it in, which means we're going to have to stretch the fabric a little bit so it all fits in together, so there aren't any wrinkles on the other side of the seams. So, in order to do that, I'm going to take those out, because sometimes you can do it right and it'll work itself out, but sometimes you got to ease it in. So for about this part, about this far in from the seam, and from about that part in on the other side. So now, when you start pinning, you're going to stretch everything together, and you're going to do your best to work it in so that it all fits in without any major issues. So let's start here at the top. And that line that you drew in the middle of your sleeve using something erasable, not a Sharpie marker, that line is the top of the shoulder, so that should match up with your shoulder seam here at the top. So see that? You see the difference there? So we're just going to start here in the middle, and we're going to pin the middle together. And over here, we're just going to kind of pin in the middle. And then here's we got all that extra, so we're going to stretch and pin in the middle. See, so there's going to be a little bit, but as you sew, the fabric will stretch out and it should make a wrinkly-free seam. Or sometimes you might have to do that on your own too. Okay, so I'm going to finish pinning the other seam and get ready to sew everything together. Okay, I'm going to sew this together using my serger. My serger is what gives you those really nice seams on the inside of your clothes. Like this right here. When you look at the inside of your clothes and you see the seams that have the threads that go over the edges, that's called a serging overlock. It's called an overlock. But a serger allows you to do that at the same time as it cuts the fabric off. So that gives you that nice professional looking edge for the inside. So this is my serger, and I'm going to be sewing my seams and all. I'm going to be sewing my seams here on my serger, but when it comes to hemming the bottom of my shirt, because I'm going to shorten it, I'm going to be using a zigzag stitch on my sewing machine because I don't know quite yet how to do that on a serger. I think there's a way to do it, I'm just not positive of it. I'm going to have to research it. But this is how we're going to do this. So I'm going to raise my needles to the highest point, lift my presser foot, and with the sleeve facing the bottom, I'm going to go ahead and just sew the edges. But I'm going to be very careful because this has a knife that goes up and down and it cuts the fabric as it sews over the edges, which means that I need to pay extra attention to make sure that no extra fabric sneaks up underneath and gets cut, because I've had that done before where I'm almost done with a piece of clothing and I end up cutting a hole through the middle of it because something got wrinkled up underneath and I ended up cutting a hole through it as I was serging the edges. So here we go. And you cannot sew over pins. So when you're serging, when you're using a serger, pins have to be removed before you cut anything, because if not, that knife is going to go dull, it's going to get a nick, and it won't work any longer, and there's just no way for a pin to go through. So remove all pins as you go. And if you're freaked out, slow down and take it easy. So see, all serged up. When you flip it over, it looks like a normal shoulder seam with there are no wrinkles, no anything. So I'm going to do my other sleeve, and we'll go on from there. Okay, so there you go. There's the other sleeve attached. So now that I've got the shoulders done, we are going to flip it inside out, and now we're going to do our side seams. So our side seams and our seams here on our sleeves are all going to get done in one pass. So what we're going to do, we're going to flip it inside out and match up our side seams and our sleeve seams. So starting here at the sleeve, match that up and we're going to pin it. Okay, I'm going to finish pinning this up, and I'll come back when it's all pinned. Okay, now we're all pinned up. We pinned up the sleeve, starting at the sleeve, matching the sleeve ends, matching the seam where the sleeve meets the shirt. We pinned all the way down the side on both sides. So now I'm going to serge, starting from the sleeve and working my way down to the bottom. And when we come back, those sides will be done, and we'll get started on the hem. Okay, now that the shirt's all done, I'm going to go ahead and show you how to fix the seams. I recorded this earlier, but I was totally out of frame when I did this originally, so I'm going to do it again. When you have a serged edge, the sewing machine doesn't have a reverse button on it. The serger doesn't. So there's no way to go backwards and to secure your stitches. So there's only one of two ways to do this. You can either clip the edges, clip the threads off, and use a glue that's called fray check. It's found in the sewing section, I believe in the notions aisles usually. And you just, put a couple of dabs there, let it dry, and then it'll be washable and dry cleanable, and it shouldn't fray. But this is how I do it. What I have here, I believe, is a tapestry needle. It has a sharp pointy end here, and it has a large eye that allows me to get all 4 threads through that eye. So this is how I do it. So I take my needle and I thread it through the upper loops here, so that it's either one or two things. It's either in the loops, or you can go in between the fabric that's in between the loops, like that. So can you see that? So my needle is in the upper loops here. And then I take the extra thread and I trim the ends. And then I thread the needle. so that all 4 threads, or however many threads are on your serger, is through the eye. Hold on a second. You gotta get them all pointing the face, all pointing the same way. There we go. Good gracious, this is so hard today. There we go. Alright, I think that'll do it. Okay, so once you have your needle threaded, and you don't want to thread it all the way through, you want just enough, you know, give it plenty of slack here, plenty of slack, and just a little bit here, and then you're just going to pull the needle through. Just like that. So now the extra thread's gone through the top loops here. You have this little bit that hangs out right there, and you just snip it off. Just like that. And that's how you secure a serged end. And you don't have to worry about glue, and when it gets washed and dried or dry cleaned or whatever, it won't come undone, and you're good and secure. Okay, we're almost there. All we have to do is our hemming now. So our shirt's done, our sleeves have been attached, the side seams have been all seamed up here, so we're good on that end. And what we're going to do is hem. So I'm going to relay out. I should have done this in the beginning, but I neglected to do this, so we're going to do this now. So we're going to relay out my shirt, and it's not going to be a perfect match. I gave a little extra room in here because I want my shirt to fit nice. I don't want it to be too tight. You know, work out those wrinkles, but it's pretty close. I mean, you know, it's decent. I'll have a little extra room. All right. So there you go. So this is the way I like it. So as you can see, my hem's all wrinkly, but that's okay. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to mark the bottom of my hem. There's my marker. I have a mason jar to keep my stuff in. Let's see, I'm looking for, oh, there it is, right here. So once again, I got the little nifty little chalk wheel tool. It's pretty cool. So I'm just going to mark. Pull it down and mark. Pull it down and mark. I'm not going to stretch it too much. I mean, I don't want to stretch it all the way out. I just want to get an idea where the hem is. Okay. So now that I have that, okay, so my shirt wasn't completely even, and now I just got a general idea, and it's kind of crooked. So I'll whip out my ruler. I have this awesome quilting ruler here, and I'm going to even it out. So I'm just eyeballing it, seeing how well that looks about right to me. That looks good to me. So I'm going to go back and remark. Now where I'm marking at should be the bottom edge of your hem. So that's the part that should be the very edge of the hem right there. So now I'm going to add an inch. I'm going to add an inch. So I'm going to use my ruler, and I'm going to add an inch to the bottom. So now it looks like that. So this is going to be the actual bottom of my shirt, and this is where I'm going to cut. So I'm going to cut that out. And I'm not going for perfection here. It'll be okay. Okay. Now all this can get dusted off. See? You just dust it off and it'll disappear, and once it gets washed, there'll be no trace of that whatsoever. Okay, so now I'm going to go back and I'm going to flip it like this. Okay, so it's a bit wider here because I cut it into an A-line. So we'll start in the middle. We'll start in the middle and fold it under an inch. And I have this nifty little measuring thing. I got it from fabric.com. I ordered fabric there one time and they sent it as a small little gift. And I'm like, this is awesome. So it's this nifty little ruler and it has increments on it of up to 2 inches. And this is what I use all the time for a hemming because it has a 1 inch here. So from this corner right here to the end to this corner right here, that's 1 inch. So starting in the middle, it might be easier if we just turn this inside out. We're just going to roll it up. We're going to roll it up here 1 inch and pin it. I'm going to put my handy dandy wrist pin cushion on. And so I'm going to do that all the way around, and when we come back, we'll sew it all up. Okay, so now I've got everything pinned up, and I have it pinned up. When I cut everything out straight like this, but when you start pinning everything up, you're going to have to take the corners, and you're going to have to curve it just a little bit. Otherwise, it's not going to look right when you sew it all together. Because when you hem it, your fabric's going to stay like this and then it's going to look funny on your body. But if you trim that edge just a little bit in, you curve it in just a little bit and then hem it, for whatever reason it looks even on the body. So that's what I did. So right before I started pinning, I took the edges and like this. I had the edges right here and I just clipped just a little curve to it on each side, and that'll make the edges look better. So now that we're going to sew up the bottom and we'll be done. Okay, so I have my sewing machine set up at a narrow zigzag stitch. On my machine, that would be a number 5. And this is a narrow zigzag stretch stitch. So what it does is it allows you to have a secure stitch and allow a little bit of stretch so that the fabric that goes around your body will be able to stretch with the stitching. Because if you have a straight stitch, the straight stitch doesn't stretch. So when you try to pull it over your body, you're just going to pop those stitches, pop, 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 pop. But the zigzag, because of the way it is, it allows it to stretch. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to sew the hem here using my narrow zigzag. And when I get done, I'll show you what it all looks like. I accidentally finished the shirt before I started filming. And so my shirt's completely done, but I'm going to show you what it looks like in a minute. But I wanted to show you what it was like sewing with a stretchy fabric. What I found was if you stretch the fabric as you sew, you're going to get waves in your fabric. And you don't want to do that. So when you sew your fabric, you want to make sure that you're not... You want to make sure you're not stretching. Don't do this. This is bad. Actually, what you want to do, you kind of want to push it in a little bit. You want to push it in just a little bit so it gets fed evenly and nothing stretches. And another thing I found, I have a dial on my machine which allows me to adjust the pressure foot pressure. So it allows me to adjust how hard the pressure foot is pressing down on the fabric. And I had to loosen it up to as light as it would go in order to keep it from putting lumps in my fabric. So I'm going to keep going. I'm not stretching the fabric, but I am guiding it to make sure that it's still going where it needs to go. Okay, raise my needle, raise my presser foot. So there we go. I don't know, can you see it? And there you go. Hey guys, so we're done. Here it is. Here's the finished product. So I took my husband's old extra large t-shirt and I cut it down to size so that it would fit me better. I'm not completely happy with it, but that's okay. It's wearable. I'll still wear it out in public of all places too. So here we go. I don't know, can you see it all? So just like the other shirt, it fits me better in my shoulders, it fits me better in my body. And the only problem I have is the hem, but I'm still working on that. Knits aren't particularly my favorite fabric, so I'm still learning how to keep them looking nice as I sew them. But so far, so here's the t-shirt. It's completely done. And I'm actually going to take another video because I'm going to take the neckline and I'm going to turn it into a small v-neck because I don't like the circular necks here like this. Anyway, so comment, like, share, subscribe if you can. When you subscribe, there'll be a little bell beside the subscribe button. You click on that. You can get notifications of when I upload new videos. I will continue uploading through the summer. Let me know what you guys think. I always appreciate any sort of comments. Share with your friends. If you know of anybody who might want to learn some sewing, these are the videos to go to for you guys. Let me know what you think, and I will respond back to your comments. You guys take care, have a good summer, and keep following along, and we'll continue doing cool stuff. And let me know what you guys want to do, and I'll try to get everything uploaded. Okay? Bye!